Hi guys, this is a video on installing Windows XP on a netbook via a USB flash drive. So we all know netbooks are great, they're small, they're light, carry them anywhere, but there's a problem with them in that they don't have a CD drive. Now this poses a problem if you want to change operating systems, and you basically have to make use of a USB drive. Now you'll notice in my last video I do an unboxing of this laptop. It's an Acer Aspire 1 A110, the 8GB SSD version. Now this came with Linux, but as you can see I've actually got XP running on this. Now I'm basically made use of this, made it bootable, put all the XP files on it, bunged it in and installed it, but it was a little bit more complicated than that, so I'm basically going to show you how I did it. Now this is a Kingston Data Traveller 1GB. It was the cheapest I can find in a shop in town, went and got it. I do have some other ones but they weren't booting properly. I had a feeling it's because of the security partitions or something like that that was stopping them from booting, but this one's fine, cost me £6, and I'll basically be showing how I prepped this, and I'll show you the install as well on this and what steps to avoid and what to consider. So if you have one of these, an A110, or even I think an A150 will do it as well if it came with Linux, because the A150 does come with Linux, and also I know Acer's EPCs. Now other laptops or possibly the Acer's EPC, it will vary, so don't expect this to be a one for all video. This is just showing you how to create the XP install disk. Again, all the USB disks can vary as well, so take this with a pinch of salt. If there's any problems, leave a comment and hopefully we can get some guides together as well. They're available on the web, but I haven't seen many videos, so I thought I'd make one. So I'm now going to switch to the screencast of how to make this an XP install. I'm reinstalling XP on this because I'm actually going to be using an N-lighted version, which is basically a slimmed down version of Windows XP, just to make it run a little bit faster. So I'm now going to switch to the screencast, so you'll see exactly what I see on my screen and how I'm getting this installed, and after that we'll go straight to the laptop and show you what it's like when it boots up. Okay, so let's get going. Okay guys, simply head over to bootland.net. I'll provide the link in the description and you'll find there's free download locations to get this file, USB multiboot 10.zip. Simply click one of these, you're guaranteed to get the file. Download it to your desktop and extract it. And you can see here you'll get a bunch of folders and a bunch of files. Now we're just going to start USB multiboot 10.cmd, so just double click that. I'm going to click run and it gives you some information on the program. So I'm going to press any key and it's saying format USB drive with FAT1TFS. FAT32 is very slow for install of XP, and it gives you some options. Now I'm actually going to format my drive to make it bootable and all that stuff. Now as you can see here I've got Kingston and it's drive I, so that's just to note that. Remember, it's my Kingston Data Traveller. So I'm actually going to use the PE to USB format tool. I haven't tried the HP, but the PE to USB worked on my first go. So you can see it says USB removable, it's chosen the drive I, enable disk format, I've called it Kingston, and it's got quick format. This may not be enabled for you, I enabled it because it's quicker obviously, and enable LBA is ticked as well. So I'm just going to click start, continue, yes, you're about to repartition and format disk, yes. So that's now going to format and it's done. Simple as that. Okay, so once that's closed you'll see that this comes up with a different menu. Select XP setup source and USB drive target, then 3 equals make multi-boot USB drive. Okay, so give XP setup source path. So I'm going to say 1 as my choice in here, and it says browse for folder. Now it was at drive K because I was installing it straight from the disk, but now I'm going to actually select my N-lighted folder. So for you would probably have to go down to the CD drive that you've got XP in, and you'll see that it will just select it. Now I'm looking for, at the moment I'm looking for desktop, there we go, and N-lighted is what I've called it because the i386 folder has to be in it. Now I'm just going to move the mouse away. I'm going to scroll up a little bit because it's actually showing my product key. So what it actually shows here, it says unattended install, and then it asks you, and it gives you information on what you can fill in, and I'm going to say yes, I want it to be unattended. So I click yes, and it's now asking for the full name, so I've already filled all this stuff in. So I'm just going to move this away so you guys can't see the product key again, but it's just giving, there we go, it's just giving all the information, and once that's done, again it comes back and it says that's all ready to go. So okay, that, sorry you couldn't really see that, but again I was trying to hide the product key so you guys don't end up copying it. Okay, so next thing to do is 2, give USB drive target. So I click 2, I'll press 2 even, and then it says browser folder, Kingston is where I'm going, click OK, and that's pretty much it. You've specified the source where it's coming from. Mine's Enlighted, but yours will be the DVD or CD drive that you put in, and then you've given it a target. So the next thing to do is make the multi-boot drive. So this is basically going to do everything. So if I just click 3, it's going to say NTLDR boot sector not detected on USB drive. Do you want to make it bootable? So I'm going to say yes. I want to make my drive bootable, and you can see that it's now started copying a bunch of files. Now, depending on how fast your computer is, and how fast your stick is, it will take some time. So it's saying copy XP source to USB drive, about 15 minutes. Yes, that's what I want to do. I want to copy all the source files, and I want it to start installing it all as soon as I go to do it. So I'm actually going to pause the video now, because that is basically all that you have to do to install make it bootable and pretty much put it in. I'll just show you what it does once it's finished copying, but after that we'll head straight to the laptop and boot her up. So we'll see you in a bit. Okay guys, so the install looks like it's now finished. It's just asked me to finish, change migrate.inf, file copy to USB drive is ready, okay, success. Make USB stick in XP setup to be preferred boot drive U. Now I just said yes for this. I think this just changes the boot drive in the setup to avoid it coming to C or something like that. So I'm just going to select yes. But other than that, that's pretty much it. It gives you some more information if you need it, but that's about it in terms of copying stuff to the drive. It's pretty much ready. So I'm now going to stop the screen record, head back to the webcam, and we'll plug her in. So see you in a bit. Okay guys, I've got the data traveler in the laptop at the moment. I haven't turned it on so you can see exactly what happens. So I'm now going to turn the laptop on, and I'm now going to go into the BIOS. So I'm actually going to press F2. Now obviously this will vary on different laptops, so I'm going straight into the BIOS, and the reason I'm doing this is because I want to make sure the boot priority is right. So I have an option here for boot, and it says the hard disk is going to boot before the USB drive. So you see here that says Kingston Data Traveler. This is the serial number of my hard drive, it looks like, but I'm getting the USB to start after the hard drive. Now I believe this is done to make sure the drive letters are correct, but what you'll then need to do after you've restarted this, after you've saved it, is go into the boot menu. So you need to make sure you can get into the menu for booting, so you can then select the USB hard drive to boot from. So here we go, this is my boot menu. It's got the IDE and it's got the Kingston Data Traveler. So I'm going to start from the Kingston Data Traveler. Now again, I'm very sorry you can't see this. So it says here, right at the top, please select an operating system to start. And I've got choices. I've got 1, begin text mode setup, Windows XP, never unplug USB drive until logon. 2 and 3, continue with GUI mode setup XP and start XP from HD1, continue GUI setup and start XP from HD2. Use it for installing. Yeah, there's loads of options here. I won't go into it, but you basically need to choose the top one. Begin the text mode setup for Windows XP, never unplug the USB drive until logon. So I'm going to press enter. So obviously take note of that, that you do not take out your USB drive. It's important. Okay, so now we are in the Windows setup. Now it's going to be slightly different because I'm installing this back onto my Windows XP system, but this previously had Linux. So once you get to the partition choosing screen, so you can see it says set up as starting Windows. It's saying welcome to Windows, do you want to set it up? I'm going to say yes, press enter. It's examining my disk, searching for previous versions. I'm not sure if it asked me for a repair. Yes, so I'm going to say don't repair. And here is my options for my disks. Now the drive D at the moment is partition 1 and it's the Kingston one. That's my USB one. I've also got C, which is my hard drive. Now, if you're doing this for the first time and installing Linux on this, chances are your Kingston drive will be C. Now, it's important that you get the hard drive on your computer to be C, otherwise you'll render it useless. It won't boot. You need it to be drive C. Now, this is why I thought the boot priority is quite important in this case, because when I first did this, the C drive was my USB drive, so you need to make sure it's done. Now, if you have the Linux Acer Aspire 1, it will have two partitions at the top. All you have to do is simply delete both of those, create another one, reboot, then go into this text setup again, and then you'll find that you'll have your partition here. Is partition 1 is Kingston at drive D, and then you'll find your C here. So all I'm going to do, as I've already got Windows XP on this, I'm just going to delete the partition, click enter, and then L. So that's what would happen if you deleted a partition. So now it's unpartition space. I'm going to say create a partition, give it the maximum available space, and then I'm going to press enter to install to it. Now, for mine specifically, the Acer Aspire 1, apparently the FAT32 file system is a lot faster than the NTFS when installing XP. So I'm just going to say format it to format it to FAT, and then it says it will format it with a FAT32, which is absolutely fine. So to continue a format, press enter. Okay, so what you'll pretty much see after this is a normal XP installation. If you've done it before, then this should be familiar to you. This is basically formatting it, so it's wiping the disk, and then it's going to copy, as you can see now, it's going to copy all the stuff from my USB drive onto the SSD. So you can see it's now copying. Now, this copying may be fairly slow. Yeah, you can see here, well, I'm already at 10%, but this may be fairly slow, obviously, because this it will be faster than your CD drive, but it's still maybe fairly slow because you're doing it from your flash drive. And at the moment, you can see I'm at 24%. But I'm going to pause this. Once this is done, I'll show you exactly what happens when it hits 100%. So see you in a bit. Okay, guys. So it's now finished this, and it's now saying it's initializing my XP configuration. My webcam's gone a bit funny. It's made everything go red. But hey, what can you do? I tried to get this to look a little bit better, and it appears to have made it look a little bit worse. But either way, you can still see what's going on. It's initializing the XP configuration. It's loading the default configuration. We'll see how long this takes. It will load a couple more files as well, and then it should reboot the system, and then we'll be able to see what happens after that. Okay, so we're still, there we go, loading. It's loading some INP files. You can't really see that. Stupid webcam. I need a new one. Definitely need a new one. Okay, updating. There we go. Windows will reboot in 13 seconds. Let's skip that. Okay, so it's now going to reboot, and the redness is gone. Well, hey. Okay. Windows could not start because the following file is missing or corrupt. Windows root system32 HAL DLL. Please reinstall the copy of the above file. Okay. Now, I already knew this was going to happen, so don't worry. So, I'm just going to turn the notebook off, and then I'm going to turn it back on again, because we now need to boot from the USB again. So I'm going to just go into the boot selection menu, and I'm going to go to the data traveler, and again we'll come up with this menu. If you remember at the beginning, I said to begin text mode, set up Windows XP. Remember that mode? I'm actually going to go to the one beneath that now. 2 and 3, continue a GUI mode setup. Press enter, and then it should start with the Windows XP logo. There we go. And so it's now going to start with the GUI portion of Windows XP and the setup with that, pretty much as exactly what it said on the USB thing. So if you get this HAL.dll error, make sure you select option 2, because I believe it fixes that error. I think it was an option to do with the boot.ini file. But anyway, so this is pretty much it in terms of the GUI part. As you know, I made an unattended CD, an unattended installation on the USB. you can see that I haven't got a CD drive in my notebook. Apologies for the redness. I haven't got a CD drive or anything. It's doing it entirely off this USB drive right here. So it's installing it. This is going to take quite a long time because I've got both a slow SSD and a slow USB drive. So I'm now going to pause the video, and you'll see this once this area or this install, once it's done finalising installation there, I will come back. Okay, thanks. Okay guys, so this now looks like it's finishing up. Again, I'm sorry for the whole webcam thing. This took, well, on this netbook it took around about 40 minutes to do. It's now removing those temporary files. Just wave to you in the meantime to keep you busy. Hello! Anyway, so this should now reboot eventually. I think it's just because it's copying a bunch of stuff from the slow writing or slow reading flash drive onto the slow writing SSD. I'm aiming to put an SD card or some memory cards in it. Are we going to get anywhere? Are we going to reboot? It's weird though, because it's a 1.6 gigahertz Intel Atom processor, 512 of RAM, yet it took so long to install Windows XP. I think it is just the SSD that lets it down. Anyway, so are we actually going to see it start up? There we go. It's now starting up, and oh, here we go again. Windows could not start because the following file is missing or corrupt. how.dll. Okay, so again, what we're going to do is I'm going to turn this off, and I'm back on again. And I'm going to change it again to do exactly what it did before. If I can get to the boot order. Oops, that's the BIOS. Okay, ignore me being a retard for a second. I'm just going to get to the boot order. It's quite fast with the boot up. There we go. So I'm just going to get it to boot again from the Kingston Data Traveler from the boot menu. Press enter, and it's going to come up with this menu yet again. And now I think what you could probably do is set it to, once it's finished with the copying of the text mode, again I'm going to choose the second option down so you can see that, GUI mode set up XP, just going to press enter then. So what you could probably do is after it's done the text mode and copied all the stuff across, ready to go into the GUI mode, you could probably switch the boot menu around. The boot priority you saw me do at the beginning with the BIOS. What you could probably do is switch it around so you have the USB drive booting first and then have the hard drive after that. So then it's just so you have the drive letters at the beginning, but once all the files are copied you could probably boot from the USB to stop that HAL DLL error coming up. But if you just want to keep it as it is and do exactly what I've done, then you'll notice that error. Just simply boot from that USB drive. Okay, so we're now booting up and we should be going straight into XP now. There we go, we've got the welcome screen and we should be able to see the desktop. Again, this is the first boot, so it may be fairly slow. I'm hoping XP won't be as slow, but I've got some speed tweaks that I'm going to be applying to the system to make it a little bit faster. I'll be doing my necessary tweaks. And are we going to get to the desktop? What I'll do, once this is loaded the desktop, I won't turn it off just in case there's any last setup things to be done. As soon as this gets to the desktop, I'll take the Data Traveler out and we can see what it will do, because it won't come up with that, it shouldn't come up with that HAL DLL error. Right, okay, so we've got the start menu here, we've now got XP installed, there's nothing else connected, that's the power cable, and that's the Data Traveler. There's nothing else connected, I didn't install it from USB. Sorry, I didn't install it from CD. So I'm now going to take this out and I'm going to restart the system. Turn off computer and we're going to restart. Obviously I haven't got any drivers, and that may be something you want to consider. If you're considering doing an Nlight install, it might be something you want to consider integrating into the install, but I can be bothered, I'm going to be doing it in a minute. I'll just bung them on a flash drive. So this, as you can see, is Windows shutting down. It's going to reboot and hopefully we won't get this HAL.dll error, which, excuse the motorbike. Yes, so the HAL DLL error apparently is something to do with the boot.ini file, and my webcam's gone a bit red, sorry about this. Right, there we go. So the USB's gone, and as you can see now we have two options. It says Microsoft Windows XP Professional and USB repair not to start Microsoft Windows XP Professional. Now I'm not sure what the second one does, but I'm not going to start it. I'm just going to start the Windows XP Professional. Now that may have been interesting. I think that might have been, if you remember when I did the text mode setup, once I'd installed XP, perhaps that's useful for that, because it asked to repair something, didn't it? But I cancelled that out. So anyway, as you can see, there's no thing in the drive. It booted up fairly quickly, and we're now in XP. This did have Linux on it, but we're now in XP, and that's about it really. So thanks for watching my video, quite a long video. Please comment if you have a different style netbook or anything like that and you want to take the plunge to go to XP. If you used a different guide, if you have a different pen drive, or you have certain ones that didn't work, please let me know in the comments. If you came up with any errors, let me know in the comments again, and we'll hope to get some help going on for anyone who's having any trouble with either this specific netbook or any other one which people want to install XP on. So thanks for watching my video. Please comment, rate, subscribe if you like my videos, and thanks again.